Greetings, everyone. This is going to be One Piece chapter 773, 74, and 75. So, yeah, and it's going to be quite brief because, I just want to skim through the the chapters instead of just going in depth this time. So, yeah, so 73, the Kozuki line. This is kind of like a flashback, and it's kind of a recap of what Odin's life has been. And it looks pretty cool, and it mostly focuses on his relationship with his children, especially his children. You can see him teaching Momonosuke about girls and stuff, and I'm guessing, his perverse nature comes from his father. That's where it came from, anyway, because he was a bit of a womanizer. But yeah, and with that little flashback, we get the nine scabbards running back, trying to save everyone, but it's too late. And yes, and we also get this like kind of it's kind of a cruel scene where you got Kaido holding Momonosuke over the tower. It looks pretty savage, and they're burning down the tower. So this is the moment that we've been waiting for. That we know that's going to happen. It's the flashback with the burning tower, and we've heard about this before. But I'm surprised Kaido actually. This dude's a savage, man. He just watched he just watched Odin die, and he's got his son. He's holding his son by his throat. And he calls his father the idiot lord. But I'm surprised he spares him and he throws him in the thingy fire pit. And with this, we learn how the nine scabbards, how they get sent to the future, and how Kawamatsu and Lord Huri actually escape. So it kind of gives us the information we need and how everything is played out. So with that, we actually get back to the present timeline now. Oh, actually, no. Before that, we also get a little bit of So out of the remaining scabbards who didn't get sent back, we learn about what they did and how they lived. And the most interesting one we learn about is Denjiro. So apparently somehow the dude being angry, his like appearance changed. I don't know, it's just weird. Yeah, he changed, he's got white hair and stuff, so now he looks different. And we learn that Kishiro is actually Denjiro. So I never I never pieced that together. So I thought it was quite an amazing information indeed. And so with that, we learned something quite interesting, and we also learned who the thief is. It's also Kishiro. Yeah, and yeah. So we find out about the relationship between Kishiro and Shiori as well. So that was quite cool, actually. That bit of a twist, I thought anyway. So I enjoyed that little information, and the chapter was quite decent. And with that is the end of the Odin, Kozuki Odin flashback, which got to say is one of the best flashback sequences I've ever seen in this series. To be honest, like we got everything. We even got Goldie Roger in his prime, Whitebeard in his prime. We got a lot of fan service and a lot of information in that flashback sequence. Anyway, a little saga. Uh, So I've got to say, it's one of the best flashbacks in the series so far. But it's over now. Oh no, maybe I lied. It's not over just now. And then we get what you call it? We get the perspective from Kaido and Orochi's perspective, and then we get back to the present time. But I got to say that flashback was kind of long though, but I did enjoy it thoroughly. So I've kind of missed the current Straw Hat crew and everything, because it's been a while since we've actually been talking about them due to the flashback. But we go back to current times, and they're trying to go to Onegaishima, but all the boats and everything have been destroyed. So now they're kind of talking about how how the information has been leaked, and they kind of discuss about a spy among us. And I've heard this rumor as well about the spy among them, and I couldn't really decide who the spy was. And I thought this was going to be a typical thing where there wasn't a spy in the thing, or maybe the spy actually turned good, something like that. But also I didn't think the spy would reveal himself so easily, but the spy did, and we find out that what's his name? Kanjuro is actually the spy, and his face looks pretty menacing in this. Yeah, and I guess because I don't really go into full analysis of every chapter and do everything, but some people have predicted that it was Kanjuro, but I'd never think that he'd actually be a spy. But it turns out he was, and because of his nature, he of because he's used to be an artist, he doesn't really have any emotions, so therefore he can do stuff like that, and he's a really good actor as well, apparently. So yeah, that was quite interesting as well. And also something that was quite cool, I thought, was the fact that what's it called? Kiyomon actually slices Kanjuro, but then it turns out to be a double. And it turns out all along, this dude can actually paint really well. So, Oda tricked me. I mean, he tricked me quite a bit because I thought it was just going to be one of those gags that he does, giving character an ability, but his own ability kind of, what do you call it? Give his own ability handicaps his abilities in a sense, because that is such an older kind of character to build. A person who can what do you call it, create drawings to life, but has like rubbish drawing skills. But it turns out Kanjuro has been lying about his drawing skills all along, and he's pretty good at drawing. And he's taken what do you call it, Momonosuke hostage as well. So everyone's been duped. So this is pretty crazy. And I got to say that was pretty wicked plot twist indeed. So we find out that's how Orochi knew about the whole planning meeting stuff. So yeah, Kanjuro was he was a spy all along. I never would have predicted. But nevertheless, the Straw Hat Pirates crew emerged from the sea. So this is pretty crazy. And then I gotta say, this chapter got me really hyped when I see the final panel. It looks amazing. The big three. These dudes are the big three, Kid, Law, and Luffy himself. And the panel with those three's close-ups it looks amazing. I've got to say, so I've really missed Luffy, to be honest. And with this, we now in the latest chapter, 700 975, Kiyomon's plan. We find out why they're still alive. To be honest. So as you can see, Kanjuro's face looks in shock that his plan has failed because everyone's still alive and stuff. But nevertheless, all the boats have been destroyed, so they're kind of confused in the situation, and they still don't know the Kanjuro's a traitor. But a bit of retconning happens, and they kind of find out what happens. So we can see that the Beast Pirates also tell them a key information that the Big Mom and Kaido have actually linked up. So we can see the shock in the face, especially with Kaido and no, especially with Kid and Law's face. You can see like their crew members, they all look shocked as well that those two have teamed up. Especially since Kaido's big enemy, I mean, like the person who hates Kaido the most is probably Law, and the person who hates Big Mom is probably what's it called, Kid. So yeah, that's quite interesting indeed. But as we can see, the big three just do you think a fleet of like fodder level characters can stop the fleet? And they just, they all like jump in and they all use their special moves, and we see a fleet just get absolutely destroyed into bits. And it's kind of humorous how we see like their egos clash as they're talking about who like who's gonna fight who and stuff like that. And it's pretty funny to see them just act like that, to be honest, and bicker. It's pretty funny. And we also see Kishiro come as well. And this is quite interesting indeed, because he seems to be a pretty good swordsman. He seems to have some good swordsman skills in the fact that he slices the boat in half as well. So his swordsmanship is definitely up there. And this is where he reveals himself to everybody. Hmm. But it's kind of surprising that even though like these guys are supposed to know him, they don't recognize him at all. And this is the first time he reveals himself to everyone. And the way he reveals himself is he talks about an incident that only him and Kiyomon would know. So that's Denjiro, and yeah, it's pretty interesting indeed. And even Kanjuro didn't know about this, and I'm guessing the reason why he only revealed himself now is because he knew there was a mole among them, so that's why he kept up with his facade the entire time, and I guess it's worked in the end. And yeah, and he's also brought along the entire fleet, the thousand samurai trapped in the prison. So Kanjo's, I mean, Denjiro is definitely the MVP in the sense that he's brought all the soldiers along because everything was looking quite bleak, and he explains the whole signal. This little gag was pretty funny, and about how he changed the signal, and his interpretation of the code was so different to what Kanjuro has said. And it's pretty long-winded explanation. And the funniest part was the end where Oh my god. Kiamon actually just made a mistake, but it kind of worked out well. I don't know. I thought that was quite funny. You can just see his face in the final face that he makes is pretty funny, and you can just see what's it called, Kanjuro. Like his face looks so annoyed, and yeah, damn, he looks really angry. But I gotta say, so the fleet is here. And how many people are in this fleet? About 5,000 men. 5,000 men are gonna raid Onigashima, so that's gonna be quite interesting to see. But Kanjuro is definitely the funny one in this chapter. Like it just worked out well. Instead of fooling the enemy, he also fooled himself, kind of thing. So I thought that was quite hilarious. So yeah, this was quite a good chapter indeed. So everything is definitely coming along. The payoff is get. This is a bit more set up for the final fight. So I'm definitely enjoying this little arc. Hmm. I didn't say little. Kaida, what's it called? Wano Country's been quite a long arc, but I'm definitely enjoying this arc quite a lot, and especially now the climax where they're going to raid Onigashima is going to be very interesting indeed. And I want to say, yeah, especially this chapter, these last few chapters, they've had a bit of comedic value as well, which I do enjoy. And yeah, the first two chapters of the raid to Onigashima has been quite interesting indeed. A little bit of action as well, and the idea of Law, Luffy, and Kid teaming up. Three of the worst generation like teaming up is going to be quite interesting. Technically, there's five of them, but I don't know. I don't know what the state of Killer is right now because Killer he the dude kind of got cracked, but I don't know if he's all right anymore. But so there is potentially four or five of the worst generation here, so nearly half of them are here about to fight Kaido and Big Mom. So that's going to be very interesting. And I guess Oda did mention there was going to be a war that's going to make what's it called, a war that makes Marineford look small. This could be it. This could be it. And the fact that I remember that I think Kizaru's on the move as well. He's on the move to Wano, or one of the admirals is definitely coming as well. So that's going to stir up the pot a lot if they do come, the Marines and everything, because they've never been to Wano before. But be interesting to see what they bring to the table anyway. But yeah, this was it for me. Bye.